Peace. This is King Noble Black Supremacy. And with this particular video, I want to talk about Marc Lamont Hill's defense of Palestine against Israel, which has become somewhat of a controversy leading up to him losing his job working for CNN. The statements that he uttered, some people found offensive. And clearly he does not have free speech. And actually he does not even have free thought. If he's not putting out fake news, then shut your mouth. So he's actually been put in his place. He forgot that he was a Negro under white supremacy. That he really works for massa and he's supposed to be doing massa's job. And if he doesn't do that job, he doesn't have one. Sometimes people get in these positions and they start going to their head and they feel like there's somebody and that there's something different from the average Negro, that they have a little bit more freedom and liberty and position than the average Negro. But then they get a rude awakening, as Marc Lamont Hill did. Very rude awakening. Can't say what you want. You're under white supremacy. My thoughts on the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Well, I won't give my thoughts on it. I'll save another video on that. But what I do want to say is that I don't know why Marc Lamont Hill would jeopardize losing his slave job working for CNN to speak out for Palestinians. Because I don't see him so bold in his speaking out for what's affecting black people right here in America. I don't see such boldness. I don't see the willingness for him to go out on a limb and risk his job speaking up for black Americans. So why is he doing it for the Palestinians? Why are they so valuable? Why are they so important? Well, we know that these Palestinians are Arabs. And the Arabs were the first to have slaves before the European. And what the Palestinians are going through in Israel and what the Arabs are going through in China, the Muslim persecution in China, is karma for how blacks were treated in North Africa before the slave trade. The Arabs were our first slave masters, and they will suffer for the bondage that they put the chosen people through. They will suffer for what they put the supreme and natural original inhabitants of this earth through. So what the Palestinians are receiving is suffrage for their behavior, for their past actions and their past deeds and the atrocities that they committed against the African people. I don't feel any sorry or remorse for Palestinians whatsoever, not one bit. They're getting what they deserve and what needs to come to them. Why Marc Lamont will go from cooning for one slave master over here in America at CNN to trying to find another one in Palestine, that's what baffles me. The exchange of one slave master for another, which is what happened with the Arab slave trade and the European slave trade. We have an international cooning now. We have people internationally cooning for new masters. Negroes internationally cooning for new masters. We can see that with Minister Louis Farrakhan and his trip to Iran. He went over there cooning for Iran, putting it on the line for Iran. Now, I've never ever heard the Palestinians speak up against the conditions and the atrocities that affect black people in America. I've not ever heard a Palestinian risk anything, lose a job, or sacrifice anything standing up for blacks in America. We have to understand that Palestinians get support from the United Nations, and they are looked at as a independent people with the culture and with the language and with some rights to land, which we have none as African Americans. They don't need Marc Lamont Hill to speak up for them. They have the United Nations and other entities and agencies far beyond black Americans in America. So why he would go over there and speak for them, I don't know. It's not needed. But they're scouting for a new master. They want to exchange one master for another one. I don't feel sorry for the Palestinians, and I would focus my energy, time, and effort on the liberation, the freedom of African people diasporically, and most of all, right here in the wilderness of North America as a priority. Not just black first, black American first, because we're under a very serious type of tyranny in this country. We are further from independence, freedom, and liberation than the other people in the globe, because we're barely acknowledged as a people, and that our identity has been melted into just being Americans, of not even having a distinct identity, nationality, culture, language, or territory. So all that energy that Marc Lamont Hill is wasting in Palestine should have been focused in America on freedom and liberation and independence for blacks. He should put his life on the line and go out on the edge, not for some Palestinian Arab, but for blacks right here in the United States of America. Same thing with Minister Farrakhan. We don't give a goddamn about what's going to happen to Iran, what's going on in Iran, about some Muslim community or Muslim village or whatever he's talking about. We don't care about that. We care about the condition of blacks in America. And that's where the energy and focus and effort should be focused on. That. Now, if he went to Iran to deal with something that is directly going to uplift the condition of blacks in America, then nothing but support for it. But if you go over there to feel sorry for the Iranians, the white Arabs, if you go over there because you feel sorry for the Palestinians, the white Arabs, then I don't support that at all. And I don't see the reason for it, the need for it, or why any energy is wasted or put into that. So the whole Marc Lamont Hill thing, hopefully him losing this slave job, which really is something good. Whenever you get fired from the Matrix, you actually have been liberated. You've actually been freed. You might not have that narrative or look at it as that, but you actually have been forced into your own independence. So now, hopefully, he uses his independence to have true free speech, to create his own platform, and to use his own voice in a way that's necessary to speak towards the dehumanization of humanity. So hopefully he realized that losing his job was a very beneficial thing, and that he's free now, forced into freedom, forced into independence, forced into self-determination, forced to do for self. I think that's a good thing. So him losing that job is probably the best thing that ever happened to him. Him going to Palestine was the worst thing he could have ever did, or him speaking on the Palestinian issues is the worst thing he could have ever did. But it also brought the best thing that could have happened to him. He got kicked off the plantation. Congratulations, Marc Lamont Hill, for getting kicked off the plantation. Nothing but condemnation for you standing up for pale Arabs somewhere in the desert. None of them belong over there in Israel. We are the holy people. We are the chosen people. None of them belong over there. They both do not belong in that country. The only people that belong in that country are the Philistines, the original Jews, and the KOG, the Kingdom of God, the village or tribe of Rabbi Ben Ami. Them the only ones that really belong in Israel. Nobody else. So you standing up for Palestinians, you're standing up for the wrong people anyway. Stand up for black people, diasporically. Stand up for the mistreated black people and melanated people in Israel that are being mistreated. The Ethiopians and the different type of immigrants and migrants that are experiencing discrimination in Israel. Speak up for them. We don't give a damn about no pale Arab in Palestine. Why don't their brothers look out for them? Their brothers are rich. They control all the oil in Saudi Arabia and all the money and wealth in Dubai. Why don't their Arab and Muslim brothers look out for them? Why do we need black activists and outspoken black people on relevant issues to stand up for Arabs in Palestine? You lost, brother. Completely lost and misguided. This is King Noble Black Supremacy. Join my website, www.kingnoblepblacksupremacy.com. Join now, it's free, donate, and don't hate.